Howdy, and welcome to Book Your Give Here. We're Travel That Gives. I'm Lulu Lima, your chief travel guru. I hope this episode of Dream Now Travel Later inspires you to travel, and I invite you to give us the opportunity to help plan your next memorable trip. So grab your popcorn and enjoy.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back. Oh my God, I can't believe it is February of 2021, and we've made it through a year of, oh my God, being locked up. Some of us have traveled, because you know I have. And so, but I figured we could use a little bit of gastronomy. And in the sense of gastronomy, I'm talking about wine this time. So I have brought with me today Sean Antoniello, who is going to, from Notable Wines. Let me make sure I give him his little plug here for his company. He is an amazing guy who does all of these things that would make you have an event virtual or live with wine that is above and beyond everything else. So without further ado, I'm going to let him have the floor and we'll take it from there.
Well, Lulu, thank you so much for having me. Yes, I did some traveling as well over this time to see some family. So it was good to get out because didn't travel near as much as I would have liked to. And I'm sure many others feel the same way. But yeah, a little bit about me. I guess I started out as a professional DJ, so thus the notable part of Notable Wine. And I've always had a passion as a DJ for music, just enjoying playing music and learning more about different genres. But I think what really got me into the industry as I became a wedding DJ and I was doing events for couples, awesome couples and people from all different ages was this one thing that stuck out to me so much was just seeing people smiling, laughing, dancing, having a great time. I would leave my parties so just fulfilled when I would have those amazing moments that I knew that I could have that effect on people's lives. So that really is what drove me into DJing. Now, wine, I always had a passion for since I was about a little before I was supposed to be drinking, let's just say. And
I think we all have.
Right, and I learned from some really great people early on about some awesome regions and all that, you know, some higher end Burgundy and Brunello were two of my main introductions to wine. So I caught a bug early on to really enjoy wine. And even through my college days, I was, you know, doing what college kids do, but I always had this sense of wanting to learn more about wine. So I got into the industry. I spent about 2 or 3 years just learning about wine, getting certifications and things like that. And then, you know, really got into the industry and found a lot of fun there. So,
which is so awesome, right? So we have a little video of you because I think that we should probably play it. It shows off your musical as well as your love of wine. So I am going to go ahead and show that. And let's see here.
Some people call him Merlot, you could call him Merlot, but I think that it's a grape you will like a lot. People call him Merlot, you could call him Merlot, but I think that it's a grape you will like a lot. Peaked in popularity in America in the 90s, but fell off when Giamatti bashed it in Sideways. Then came Pinot Noir, that made me a hater, but this track's about Merlot, so we'll get to that one later. Merlot's the gentle, smoother sibling, shall we say, to its bolder, older brother, the tougher Cabernet. It's got looser bunches and thinner skin, which makes it need less time than Cabernet to ripen. Deep roots in clay soil, a bright bank Bordeaux also descends from Cab Franc, you should know. The mother, that's a story for another show. Her most momentous moment was the birth of Merlot, called Bordeaux in Venice in 1855. The same time in Bordeaux, France, first growths were classified. Grown so well in Napa, Sonoma, and down under. World-class Merlot from Washington will make you wonder what a great glass of this varietal tastes like. Splurge on a bottle if you want to do it right. With finesse and fine tannin, it can be so smooth. Merlot's a classic grape that'll get you in the groove. Call it Merlot, you can call it Merlot, but I think that it's a grape you will like a lot. Some people call it Merlot, you can call it Merlot, but I think that it's a grape you will like a lot.
That's super awesome. So we're really just enjoying a lot of that, and so we talk a little bit about the French region and everything else, and so let's kind of have that conversation, right? So below you is a map of basically all of the moving pieces of where in France you can find such amazing wines, and so while we're starting with this, but that doesn't mean that that's the only place for wines, right? So tell us a little bit about your thought process of French wines and what is comparable around the world.
Yeah, great question. So I like France because it really every wine region that's separated in France really shows a different style, a different variety, and all of the varieties that we drink throughout the world basically come from one region or other in France, or we could talk about Spain and Italy with their own separate varieties as well. But looking at France, you got Bordeaux, Burgundy, Chablis, which is part of Burgundy, but closer to Sancerre, which is in the Loire Valley, and then you have the Rhone Valley, you have Champagne, you have Alsace, you have all these different regions that have very specific varieties that they do super, super well. They grow perfectly in those climates and the soils in those regions, which is really, I think, what most of the winemakers that are wine professionals and masters of wine, master sommeliers, the good ones are always talking about this thing called terroir, which is basically a sense of place. So I really think that it's so important to hone in on that specific concept when you're talking about wine, because you can get a wine from California, but if it doesn't show some sort of sense of place, then you're missing a whole backstory of the wine, right? You can buy lots of different brands that tell you a story to market to you, but do they have that sense of place where the grapes actually came from? So that's really what I love about talking about France and French wines in general. For instance, Bordeaux and Merlot. We talked about that in my wine rhyme. So
yes,
there are 6 basic grapes you can grow in Bordeaux, and all of those grapes grow all throughout the world. But they have this very strict law. You can really only grow these grapes to call it Bordeaux, and that's Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, Malbec, Cabernet Franc. Do you know the other 2?
No, educate me.
These 2 is Petit Verdot and Carmenere. A lot of people don't know about Carmenere,
no,
and they don't do a ton of it. It's always in a blend. I've never seen a single varietal Carmenere from Bordeaux, but you'll see it a lot in Chile. And again, California can do almost everything because of the unique soils and different microclimates. So California is a great place to study, but if you really want to get deeper into the history, I always recommend the old world: France, Italy, Spain, Germany, that whole area. They've been doing it for hundreds of years, longer than us.
Yeah, absolutely. And so obviously, Europe is a great place for wine connoisseurs to go and enjoy and have, the history. But you did mention South America when you started off with Chile. So I kind of want to just, let's chat a little bit, because not only can you get amazing wines in Chile, but also in Argentina.
Yes.
The Mendoza area.
Yeah.
The whole region.
The South America is a real up and coming region. Brazil is making wine. The BRIC, Brazil, Russia, India, China. Those were the 4 main new regions that were coming up years ago. So all of those are really up and coming wine regions that we have a lot to learn about. Still not exporting a whole lot, so you don't see a lot of them in America. But that's why we got to go visit these places.
Exactly. So, as borders open up and we get a chance to go and have this amazing adventure, that's part of what I do. So I will go ahead and make sure that you've got a curated itinerary, and Sean is going to help me, guide you with all those wines, because as much of a gastronomy person that I am, he has all of the knowledge on the wines. So we're going to team up and we're going to create these amazing itineraries that you can literally do anywhere in the world, and they're wine specific. So that is our goal for today, right? So we want to kind of highlight a little bit of that. So we've with Argentina and Chile being available to us to travel right now with just a COVID test, this would be a great opportunity to take a ride and enjoy that region. Once the European Union opens up again for us, here's an opportunity for us to go into the old world country. But then we want to do something a little bit more exotic. Well, what about Australia? Australia has amazing wines.
New Zealand, Australia. Well, you were mentioning Argentina. Have you heard of, so most people know of Mendoza, which is the big capital for Malbec in wine.
Yes.
But have you heard of Salta?
Ooh, I know Salta, but I didn't know it was an area for wine.
So it's one of the highest elevations in the world. I believe Salta has the highest elevations for wine in the world, and they still grow Malbec up there because of the warmth that they get, but because it's a cooler climate, the style is completely different than what you get down on the valley floor, and the wines are amazing. I love wines from that region, so really cool stuff.
So it sounds like we need a 2-week trip just to Argentina.
It could take that long.
Just to do wine tasting. Forget about everything else. Let's just do wine tasting for 2 weeks. You're in, right? There we go. We're in. So, but obviously, again, with people who not, wanting to maybe explore so much, where can they find these wines?
Well, the challenge here, I think because of the states and all being regulated differently, you have to find the best way to find really cool fun wines is to find a really good local wine shop with a wine person, like a dedicated wine person that is passionate about wine like I am, and that can help you find certain things, because you can go into the big box stores and find a nice selection, but to really get that elevated experience with wine, I always recommend going into a smaller, more local wine shop if you can find one.
That's awesome. And what are some of the questions that people should ask to make sure that they're reaching a person who is just like you, as passionate and knows their wines?
Yeah, that's a great question. I always start with the obvious question. Start with something that you're really looking for. If you are looking for Malbec from Salta, you got to ask that question that, the average wine store clerk isn't going to know, so that they can then get the manager to get you somebody who will actually have some knowledge. So it may take a little digging at first, but do have that specific question. The more specific you can get about a region or a variety or a style of wine, I think that that would be the way I would go.
That's awesome. So let's talk a little bit about your virtual events in terms of what can you do for people who want to have something right now and, they're like, hey, let's do a wine tasting, but we can't get together. So what does that look like?
Yeah, well, I've got a really cool one planned. So I'm doing a sparkling right around Valentine's. It's appropriate. So we're going to do a sparkling wine and popcorn. So I always incorporate music or something in my wine rhymes or something in my events because I'm all about edutainment. I want you to learn something, but wine is fun and it's meant to be fun, so we should have fun, but I want you to walk away with just a little bit more knowledge so that you can either buy wine better or have a better appreciation for what you're tasting the next time around. I want you to walk away really feeling something. So this, I thought, why not pair sparkling wine with popcorn and just do something fun and light. It's not a whole food pairing, and we'll go into the history and talk about how sparkling wine is made and different varieties, different regions you can get it from, and there's so many different aspects of sparkling wine that you can dive pretty deep into that, but it all depends on the level of edu or the level of attainment that you're looking for. That's what I'm all about.
That's awesome. So in this edutainment piece of the puzzle that we're doing, if somebody wants to learn on how to actually taste a wine, do you work through that? Do you go through the spinning, the swirling and the smelling and all of that?
Yes. So there.
How does somebody become or learn how to start tasting wines?
Great question. Yeah, I take a lot of that stuff for granted, but always one of the wine rhymes I wrote, the first wine rhyme I wrote was the 5 S's of wine tasting. So you can check that out.
Give it to us.
So I give that one for free because it's so important, and it gets more intricate to learn. So all right, I'll give you that one. Do you want? We'll do it a cappella. To get the most out of your wine tasting experiences, use the 5 S's and engage all your senses. Swirl the wine in your glass to open with aeration. Use your sight to see its depth and coloration. Now inhale the aromas and describe what you smell. Take your time with this, it may impress clientele. Next step, sip the fruit and funky flavors. Then for satisfaction, let it sit and savor. So those are the 5 basics.
That is super awesome. I love it. And I don't want you to give away everything because I want people to book you. So guys, as you guys are watching and you're enticed, so Sean will do virtual events for you. So if you guys maybe wanted to do a girls' virtual weekend or, for wine tasting or something like that, a couple hours, maybe on a Friday night, we could do a wine and a book. We can do wine and some extra food and whatever it is. And so there's lots of different themes that we can do to kind of coordinate that. So I'm happy to put you in contact with Sean. So all you got to do is just reach out, let me know, and he and I will put something together. Maybe we'll do an evening of tasting some wines and traveling virtually. So we got it all covered for you, no matter what you want to do. I am so excited that Sean was able to pop in here and come and tell us all about his passion, because he's as passionate about wine as I am about travel. So I love this. Oh my God, this was awesome. Again, not wanting to give away your store. So, if you want to do a live event, guess what? Sean will come to you too.
That's right. I'm mobile. You see all my DJ stuff back here. I go everywhere. I travel with everything. So
he travels with the music and the wine. So all good stuff. So with that, thank you so much, Sean, for joining us and giving us a little piece and
thank you,
savoring of amazing wines and starting off the travel with France. And if you guys, again, have any questions, here we are. So everyone, namaste. Until the next time.